Hello YouTube, welcome to another instant analysis, this time on the new FES cards, Lanzhu and Kotori. We also have a couple of SRs that this time are actually worth talking about. Worth talking about, and I'll show you why. For the SRs, we have Colorful Dreams, Colorful Smiles Emma, who is a natural attribute voltage type card. Stats look like this: 8990 base appeal, 3763 base stam, 8153 base tech at max limit break, 24.45% crit rate according to Kirara. Kit is not too great. 30% chance to get 37% of this card's voltage is her tap skill. She has the same attribute passive, maximum 3.2% at max skill level. And upon song start, same attribute cards get a 4.2% appeal increase for the first 10 notes of the live. Okay, and the second SR is Mirai Boku Kanan, who is a pure attribute SP type card. 8782 base appeal, 5018 base stam, 7109 base tech for a 21.32% crit rate according to Kirara. Has a gauge bomb tap active, adding 22% of this card's appeal as voltage to your next SP gauge at max limit break. Also has the same attribute passive, 3.2% maximum for other pure cards. And upon appeal chance start, this is guaranteed by the way, increase voltage gain from your next SP gauge by 2.6% of this card's appeal. So it has a double kind of whammy, adding voltage to your next SP gauge. And this is for every appeal chance. Happens every appeal chance start. The reason why these cards are actually sort of worth talking about is because these two cards, Mirai Boku Kanan and CDCS Emma, are actually two of the highest appeal SRs in the game currently. You can see right here, Colorful Dreams, Colorful Smile Emma, 8990 actually is the highest base appeal SR in the game before passives. Kanan at 8782 is tied with the Setsuna from the party banner, having the second highest appeal among SRs. Now, the reason why I say before passives is because Kotori, Snow Halation Kotori, post-passive is still actually the highest base appeal SR, right? 8643 base appeal, but the card gets a 7% base appeal increase for just herself, which means that in the end, she still has more appeal than Kanan, Setsuna, and Emma. But this is not taking away the fact that these two SRs on their own will score very, very well. It's not just like a random costume filler with like really, really bad stats. These cards can actually tap well if you decide to max them out and use them. Are you ever going to use them in a highly competitive situation? No, because, the URs are going to do a lot better job of what these cards are trying to do. But are they completely useless? No. You could definitely take a couple of these cards and, like, if you wanted to do, like, SRs only on, some, random regular advanced live and see how well you can score with just SRs, you could definitely score very, very well with, especially in a natural song. If you were to take Emma plus Snow Halation Kotori, you could do really, really well in a natural attribute song. So that's something you can, kind of consider. But we're here to talk about the URs, right? We're here to talk about the URs. And, you know, the face of the banner is Lanzhu, right? Lanzhu's first FES card. You know, she already has her party card, but this is first FES, technically, first FES Lanzhu. An active attribute, SP type. 13,872 base appeal, 6242 base stam, 14,565 base tech, giving her a 58.69% crit rate at max limit break, according to Kirara. And this is where people are going to get hung up on. Lanzhu is a SP gauge filler, right? 9% max at max skill level. Her passive, also pretty decent, right? 5.2% base appeal increase, 2.6% base technique increase for other active attribute cards, right? This particular hybrid passive of appeal plus technique is really, really good for the most part, you know, but we'll get into this a little bit later. Then her live show active is actually the worst part of her kit. And arguably does not help the card at all. The first 10 times you use your SP gauge, increase your next SP gauge, increase the voltage of your next SP gauge by 30% of this card's appeal. And this only happens the first 10 times you use your gauge. Now, everybody's freaking out, right? Oh my god, Lanzhu's an SP gauge filler. She has a really, really high crit rate. She's meta, right? Not really. Here's why. In the active attribute of active attribute SP type gauge fillers, right? We have second FES Rico, who does not have crit profile. We have Wedding Dress I, who does. We have Party Kotori, obviously, kind of one of the meta staples in advanced beat maps since her release. And now we have Lanzhu, right? And so now, right, the thought process, some people are going to be thinking, well, okay, I guess this means now that you go, if you have an active attribute advanced beat map song, right? Let's say Miracle Wave, right? That means your Miracle Wave team now is going to be Lanzhu, Kotori, and I, right? The answer is no. Here's why. If we look at just the live show actives, this live show active, adding voltage to your SP gauge, right? The SP gauge bomb, in an active attribute beat map, this is not going to help you. Right? Because most of the times, right, if you're trying to voltage compete on an active attribute beat map, you're probably capping your SP gauge at 250,000 anyway. So what this means is you're trying to look for extra ways to get more skill activations and get more gauges out. Which means on a song like Miracle Wave, you're never going to use first FES Lanzhu. You're actually going to use Party Kotori, Wedding Dress I, and Party Mari. And some of you may be thinking, well, Shaz, you know, you have off attribute debuff and stuff like that. Yes, I know. Because here's the second part that gives me a lot of pause about this Lanzhu card. Lanzhu, after this card releases, has a maximum bond level of only 116. Think about that. Lanzhu's maximum is 116, which means the furthest you can go on Lanzhu's bond board is bond level 100. Whereas Kotori, I, and Mari, if you have dedicated bonding time to Kotori, I, and Mari, and you've dedicated resources to them, you could easily have all three of these cards already over bond board 100, and even further, bond board 120. Bond board 200 for Kotori actually makes sense for a lot of players, right? And so you're going to have cards that are going to have much bigger bonuses because of bond levels and bond board increases that basically actually take Lanzhu out of play for advanced beat maps. As of right now, one of the only songs that it would make sense to use Lanzhu in is Advanced plus Zensoku Dreamer. And that's basically it. And kudos to Justin in the Discord server for mentioning this first before I actually even talked about it. But yeah, Lanzhu is basically only good for one Advanced Plus song, and that's it. Alright? Next, we'll go to the other UR in the banner, who is Elegant Night Party Kotori. Third FES Kotori. By the way, her first pure attribute UR. It's taken this long for Kotori to get a pure attribute UR. Stat line: 14,565 base appeal, 7976 base stamina, 12,138 base tech, 36.41% crit rate. Okay. Tap active. Voltage boost tap active, 42% at max skill level. Passive: 7% appeal buff, 3.5% tech buff to this card strategy. A great hybrid passive for this card. However, the downside of this card comes in its live show active. Again, much like Lanzhu, live show active, not great. Live show active: 50% chance to activate upon her tap, buff the effective appeal by 5% for the next 3 notes of this card strategy. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you why. You know, initially, when you look at the stat line of this card and you look at the passive of this card, you think, oh my god, great. You know, this card is going to be really, really good. I hate to say it, but not really. Okay? This particular card, if this particular card had the first FES Kanon, like, guaranteed 2.5% appeal increase upon live show start as its live show active, this card would be leaps and bounds better. However, if we were to take this particular tap active, right, and we put it in a song like, you know, let's say an easy pure attribute advanced plus song, right? Aozoda Jumping Heart. Aozoda Jumping Heart has 264 notes, right? And kind of ignoring the switches a little bit, right? 264 notes. That equates out to 88 taps per card. And 88 taps per card, if this Kotori has an exactly 50% skill activation rate on her live show active, that means that this Kotori's live show active is going to activate 44 times. And it's a 5% appeal increase. You would much rather have a guaranteed, you know, 2.5% appeal increase over the course of the whole live rather than this tap active. And when we compare her to other cards, right, I would much rather run, you know, something completely different. Right? You can make an argument that if you don't have great bond levels on Kotori, and mind you, we're starting with a base 13,000 appeal in pure attribute voltage types. Look at how many pure attribute voltage type cards we have now. Dating all the way back to First FES Chica, we now have 9 solid pure attribute voltage type cards. Granted, only 3 of them are gacha cards, right? Everything else, FES card, FES card, FES card, FES card, party card, FES card. Right? I would much rather combine this Mari and her live show active with Party Mari. Right? I would love, you know, you could make an argument that Dreamy Kids Land Rena, depending on bond boards, could actually be better than this Kotori. Especially if you're pairing this Dreamy Kids Land Rena with, say, you know, second FES Ayumu, right? And you're gonna buff your voltage gain by 10% for the next 3 notes for other Niji cards, and you're gonna use that with second FES Ayumu. I mean, I'm all for it, right? Because Ayumu's passive is exactly the same as Kotori's. Right? So if you're more Niji biased and you have a lot of bond levels on Rena and you have a lot of bond levels and bond board advancement on Ayumu, this might actually be the better way to go. Right? Now, I'm not saying that Kotori is unusable. If you are a really, really heavy Koto Oshi, you can use this Koto card. Right? Especially if you don't have, you know, because a lot of these cards are limited cards, right? Party Lanzhu, second FES Mari, second FES Ayumu, first FES Chica, second FES Nico, right? A lot of these cards are limited. So there's a high likelihood that you don't have most of these cards, right? And so if you don't have most of these limited pure attribute voltage type scores, you can definitely use Kotori and pair her with something like a Tanabata Riko, right? You could pair her with a Halloween Dean, right? You could pair her, although it wouldn't really work, with Dreamy Kids Land Rena. But it's not like a completely broken Kotori you are. AKA our resident Koto Oshi Shut It. Yeah, if you have Shut It bond levels and a Shut It bond board, you know, that's maxed out, and you have your Koto maxed out, like, this Koto card is going to be great for you, you know, if we have a pure attribute advance plus song, right? You know, unfortunately, though, like, you know, a lot of the high appeal voltage type cards are now basically only relegated to Advance Plus. And having the voltage boost tap active on this card isn't that great for everybody else when it comes to Advance Plus beat maps. Right? If you're Shut It and your third FES Koto is so advanced that you're gonna tap cap, you know, every time, then yeah, the voltage boost tap active is good. But if you're like everybody else, all the other mere mortals, that the best tap active is actually going to be something like Mari's. Second FES Mari actually has the best tap active for Advanced Plus scoring because she increases appeal for the next 5 notes by a maximum of 7.6% for the card's strategy. That actually helps more for scoring in the long term, in over the course of the song than a voltage boost tap active will. Now, overall, is the banner good? Yes. Is the banner meta? Unfortunately, it's not. Right? I made the argument for Lanzhu not being a meta card in advanced beat maps for active attribute songs. Kotori is basically relegated to Advanced Plus. So, unless your card pool is geared more towards Advanced Plus voltage ranking, this banner is easily skippable. However, I will note that, these cards can definitely be situationally very, very good. And Shut It also brings up the one part where you may not want to skip this banner. The art on these 2 URs is chef's kiss. The art on this Lanzhu and the idolized art on this Kotori are freaking amazing. This Kotori art is freaking incredible. Now, I am not a Koto Oshi in the slightest, but I can appreciate how absolutely beautiful this card is. This card is going to be somebody's webpage banner or something. It is that pretty. But yeah, if you're looking for meta cards to help you with, SBL and item exchange voltage ranking, this banner ain't it. Save your gems, wait for a different banner. But, if you're a Koto Oshi like Shut It, or if you're one of the 9 Lanzhu Oshis in the global server, by all means, go ahead, knock your heart out, roll for it. Here's the thing, though. I hope you roll you roll and get these cards early, because I don't want you guys spending more gems than you need to. Because these cards are not going to help you too much in the long run. Alright, and with that, we've gone really, really long, but that's going to be the analysis for this banner. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to join us on Twitch, twitch.tv/IamTheShaz. SBL announcements coming out later tonight. If you need help with SBL, feel free to join our Discord. Link is going to be in the description. And until next time, YouTube, we will see you all later. Bye!